And this is because transit infrastructure is very expensive to build and to maintain. And so in building higher densities around stations, you create more ridership. And this maximizes transit ridership. It capitalizes and optimizes on the investment. It also makes travel more convenient and more efficient, so you can do multiple trips within and around transit stations. The guidelines provides, aside from the concepts, build on these concepts with strategies, specific quantitative measures, and processes. So for instance, here the guidelines will provide ways to set out density targets around station areas, develop the right kind of zoning to encourage densities. And there's a section on how to urbanize transit stations that are now low density and create a kind of a grid street pattern and encourage higher residential densities and commercial uses. The guidelines recommend that we design streets as connections to transit, because as you know, transportation can be a pleasant experience as well as just simply getting from A to B. And in creating a good walking experience, we also attract choice riders, not just people who have no other choice but to take transit. What the guidelines recommend is that streets along transit routes should have sidewalks on both sides of the street within a 400-meter radius from transit stops, and 800 meters for higher order transit. There are guidelines for sidewalk widths, accessibility, human scale lighting, and streetscaping. We know that safe and convenient streets for cyclists can extend the reach of transit. So we've known that studies in the US have shown that cyclists are willing to cycle as much as 5 kilometers to a higher order of transit, so that's commuter rail, subway stations. So simply by building facilities to take riders to transit stations, we can increase the catchment without actually having to invest more in transit infrastructure or to increase operating costs by extending routes. And here we have some ways of doing that, building multi-use trails close to transit, making the complete streets, with bike lanes, so it facilitates getting to transit stations. We also advise that municipalities take a holistic approach to creating these facilities. So doing an evaluation of where the transit stations have the highest potential of connecting bikes to transit, to think of all stages of the commuter trip for cyclists. So from your residence to the doorstep of the transit station, designing transit stations to accommodate cyclists, built-in escalators, or rather elevators, paths, parking stations, parking lots should facilitate cyclists, and signage. So what we also know is that whatever works for complete streets also work for transit use. So if you build multifunctional streets that have many kinds of services, this also creates ridership around transit and builds in the transit ridership, and also contributes having transit stations near these infrastructure can create traffic for those streets. And this is our last slide. That having a safe and convenient environment on the street helps transit users. So building accessible and attractive transit stops that are well integrated into the street can provide the most visible, consistently visible and positive image of the city's transit system. And here what we advocate is trees around the transit stop, pedestrian lighting, bike racks, transit shelter that's recessed from the street and with a clear pedestrian through zone, On the right is a transit stop that's taken from the York Region Transit on Cowan Road. And you can see it illustrates all the elements of a good transit stop with bike racks in the back, clear sight lines, and trees. The draft guidelines have been posted on the EBR for public comment. It closed on March 15th, and we're just in the process of incorporating changes from the consultations, and hopefully it will be released and published in the spring and summer of this year. Thank you.
Okay.